In this video we want to discuss the concept of meta brands. First, let's start by talking about brands. Well, originally a brand was a piece of burning wood, going a long time back in history, but that's what a brand was. It was a piece of burning wood. Then it became a mark made on the hides of animals and indeed on people, on convicts, by a piece of hot wood or iron. We're talking here about very ancient times, but people and animals were branded because really they were seen as possessions of others. By today's standards, I think we find it very barbaric, but it was happened in history. And people were branded accordingly. They would have a particular image branded on their skin. So the word brand has got a very strange background, a very dark background. Marketers use the term without apparent appreciation of the negative aspects of its origins to refer to the name or symbol that consumers associate with a particular product. So nowadays when we see a particular product, we may see some sort of mark or some sort of drawing or sketch or some sort of emblem, and we associate that with the product. Now, if the producer of the product is meticulous about quality and very careful about the product design and trying to give good customer satisfaction, the producer may wish to brand the product, so put a little mark on the product. So when the customer sees that mark, they know it's from that producer. And then the producer may produce other items but put the same brand on it. In other words, the producer is telling the consumer that those items have the same quality or the same attention that the original one had. So we have this idea of branding. It's a statement of quality, really. It's an image on a product that signifies quality, signifies care and attention to its design and to its quality. A brand is also used as a proxy for reputation. So sometimes companies work hard to establish their reputation, to establish good customer relations management and good contact with the customers, and producing a product which is desirable in terms of technological innovation, aesthetics, durability, functionality, and so on. And they've produced a good quality product, so they want to brand the product. As I said earlier, they want to put a mark on the product, and they want that product associated, or that mark I should say, associated with them. So the product is associated with that company and it's associated with that product. Then if the company makes other products and puts the same mark on it, consumers can rely on the quality of those products as well. Corporations spend very substantial sums of money on inducing targeted customers to associate particular qualities with the symbol. So the corporations get a symbol and then they try to get the customers to recognize the symbol and recognize the symbol as meaning quality and satisfaction for money, good value for money. So the corporations advertise the symbol, and the symbol represents the quality of their merchandise. Brands can sometimes be used as a means of inculcating an image. It's sometimes the brands, if they're shown over and over and over, perhaps on television, perhaps in advertising, the brand is shown over and over and over. It inculcates, it goes deep into the psyche of the consumer, and they then associate that image, that sketch, the drawing, whatever the brand is, they associate that with good quality. So there's a linkage between quality perception and the image, and that's done by perhaps repetitive advertising, trying to inculcate a feeling of quality associated with the image. For example, banks may make claims that they take special care with personal data and they are subject to special laws in order to encourage the public to perceive them as being an appropriate repository for personal data. So banks are in the business of handling money, essentially, but sometimes we have to leave personal data with them. Names, addresses, telephone numbers, date of birth. So quite a lot of personal data is left with the banks, and we want that information to be secure, the same as we want our money to be secure within the bank. And the bank has built up a reputation of prudence and good behavior and stewardship of money and money matters. So then we trust the bank with our money, so we trust the bank with our personal data as well. And we do that because over the years we have come to trust the banks. And as we trust the banks, we can extend what we're giving the banks. So in this case, we're giving the banks personal data, email addresses, dates of birth, and so on. There are also ideas called meta brands. This is when the company has its own brand, but it also seeks approval from some bigger organization who is dedicated to quality. It seeks approval from that organization for its brand. So in a sense, the company's product will have two brands. It will have its own brand, its own image, which is associated with the company, the quality of the company, the quality of the product, its processes, all the items that go to make up good customer satisfaction. But it also could have this meta brand, this other brand, which is an approval from a bigger organization who has checked the company to make sure that the company is operating along good quality lines and that what they say is accurate. They are vouching for the company, and they're vouching for the company's brand. So a meta brand is, in a sense, a validation of the company's own brand. During the 1980s and the 1990s, there was what we could call the quality movement. Quality became more of an issue than before. Before the 80s, well, since the Second World War, there was a lot of emphasis on quantity, mass production, make many items, and quality was broadly overlooked in many cases. Quality was hit and miss. But from the 80s and the 90s onwards, there was more emphasis on quality. And companies were keen to show that they were making quality products. Now, the companies tried to establish their own brands and have the brands associated with quality. And they could do that, say, through repetitive advertising, more exposure. The consumers would see the product more and would understand what the product is about and what it's made from and so on, and they would then believe that the product is good quality because it was good quality, and they would associate that with the logo or with the image. But now they wanted approval from a bigger organization that that image genuinely was good quality. So corporations and governments imposed on small businesses the requirement that they comply with a set of standards commonly referred to as the ISO 9000 series. Now this was a procedure that companies had to go through to try and prove that what they were making was genuinely good quality, not just that they were saying it and had a logo. The logo could have been for a product which wasn't good quality. So in order to validate what they were claiming, they went through, if you like, an examination. they went through an examination of their processes. So inspectors would go to their companies and review their documentation, their procedures, and look at all of the different aspects of production and how it was controlled and how it was organized. And if the inspectors were happy that this was genuinely good quality, they would issue a meta brand, this super logo, which could go on the product as well as the company's own logo. So it would, in a sense, have two logos. These standards required that a business commit to a set of reviews, as I said, and training and evidence of quality, which were intended to increase the quality of the goods and services that they produced. So the ISO procedure was to ensure that companies had good practices which would deliver good quality products, and what they were claiming would actually be what was delivered. They were claiming good quality, and that's what they would get. And by passing the test, if you like, they would, in a sense, be guaranteeing that the quality was good, that this company was doing everything in its power to produce quality output. So it went alongside the company's own claims. But it was a much wider, I should say, recognized logo. And given that many companies, virtually all companies, were going for it, it was a universal meta brand. Once the consumer saw the image, they knew that this company had been examined, had been tested by independent inspectors, and had passed, and therefore was genuinely producing a good quality product. To distinguish ISO 9001 accredited enterprises, a trademarked logo was made available, which was meant to convey to the business's customers that a higher degree of trust was warranted. A higher degree of trust was in fact in place, that the customers could trust this company because it was accredited. It was accredited by this organization that was in existence solely for checking quality and ensuring that companies had good procedures. The term meta brand is used to convey the second level nature of this procedure, of this test, if you like. So it's a meta brand. It's a second level. The company is the first one. The company has got its own logo. That's the first level. The second level sits on top of it. It's much wider. It covers all companies, but it gives confidence to the customer because they can instantly recognize that logo. It's a seal of approval, meant to be a signifier for reputation, which is intended to be transferred onto the qualifying business names and their brand names. So once a company has gone through the ISO accreditation procedure, once it's done that, and if it's passed it, the company is seen as good quality. The company has good, robust systems, and its products are good quality. So their brand names are good. And as I said, the meta brand is used to convey this second level nature of such seals. The seals being the logos. Now, meta brands can also be applied in the privacy arena. For example, online, where there is a lot of concern about the way we have to sometimes surrender personal information to websites, and which may be stored on servers and may be vulnerable, may be stolen, and identity fraud could be an issue, or we could ourselves be defrauded as a consequence. A series of meta brands have been launched in the internet arena, some of them addressing consumer rights issues, but most endeavouring to give customers confidence in internet business and in making online transactions. When we make online transactions, we have to enter credit card details, expiry dates, our names, sometimes our addresses and email address. We're giving a lot of information away, and we need to have confidence that that information is going to be stored properly. So institutions have come into existence to try and check these organizations and put into place procedures and security devices to try and stop information being stolen and make sure that it's stored appropriately, and also when it expires that it is deleted. And these organizations that have come into existence also provide their own logos, their own marks, their own seals, if you like, and these are meta brands as well. So some meta brands could be Trust-E for managing privacy online. WebTrust looks at security, integrity, privacy and confidentiality. And VeriSign, a security sign for websites. So these are meta brands in the internet arena, which try to give us more confidence about using the internet for commercial purposes and being able to transact on the internet. And once companies have been approved by one of these, let's say eTrust or WebTrust or VeriSign or whatever, once it's been approved, they can put on that logo on their website, so we have more confidence that that is trustworthy. So what we've seen here is this development of a second layer which gives confidence to the consumer, confidence that the brand of the organization, which is purported to represent quality, in fact represents quality, because it's now been checked independently, and this meta brand is applied to it. In the UK we call it the kite sign. In the internet we have organizations that are trusted, that come into existence to test the robustness of procedures on the internet, to give us more security and more confidence in using the internet for commercial purposes. And that's the concept of a meta brand, and that's all we're really going to deal with in this session. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.